It's time for the Shop Report with...
That's right. That's right. Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm your host, none other than Double J, and I got something I gotta say. Okay, we're just gonna start it off this way. F you, Rick Carlisle. I'm now convinced that coaches in this league are complicit in their team's dysfunction. Now, we know everybody knows no Halliburton. They're not going to compete. Sure. Cool. Well, I got a graph for you. And we'll get into the fantasy stuff. That's and my co-host and all that and everybody else. But I'm starting right here, right now. Okay, this is what happens when I get the keys to the car. Some people crash, and maybe that's what's happening here. What you're seeing is tonight's game, okay? That's still somehow not over, which just grinds my gears even more. Okay, Matherin played 27 minutes. This dude couldn't hit. I don't ever want to hear him versus Jaden Ivey again. 27 minutes, 4 points, bro? Nah. And you wanted to be the number 4 pick? You minus. Hey. But he gets 27 minutes. Okay. All right. Now, in 18, I'm sure TJ McConnell, 16 points. Where's everybody else? Oh, okay, Siakam, because they left him in for double the minutes. The days have passed him by, too. He might be some trade bait later, but all I'm letting you know is right now they cut that lead right in the early part of the fourth quarter to the closest it had been in the entire second half. And what does homie do? I'm going to sit the catalyst for the rest of the game. I don't want to hear that no more. No. Nope. Okay. Moving forward. Pay attention to these things, kids. Because when you get a PRA of 30 and homie's sitting with 8 minutes left and needs 2, only to have intervention by way of his coach, you can't tell me at this point that what are you saving him for? What are you saving him for? The NBA has politics. I remember there was a dude who came out and said, look, I didn't want to score because I didn't want to be an all-star. Man, I hope I never threw any dollars on him. But the fact of the matter is, we've reached a point in this now where when you watch a dude play 27 minutes and can't hit the broadside of a barn, for you Indiana folks, and the main contributor to the team's success on that given night gets sat. Nope. That's foul. Speaking of foul, I thought I smelled something. It wasn't from Rick Carlisle. It's none other than my co-host, D. Gully. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday. It's on Saturday night. Talk to me.
Nah, bro. No,
Oh, you disagree with Rick Carlisle?
bro. You don't not bring me in. Go on your rant about Rick Carlisle and him playing who he need to play or not playing who he need to play.
No,
Then you say something foul and then bring me in. Like, nah, you don't do that to me. You don't do that to me. You think you can do this to me? You will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay. I'll get through with you. Shoot program, 23-hour lockdown. You never see the light of day. I'm sorry, fans. I'm sorry. Steve Gully here from the Shop Report. Co-host. Got a little beside himself, and so I had to get righteously indignant as well. My apologies. Now that we've got that settled. How you doing, Double J?
Look, I've had a good day. I have.
Right.
It's an important week, right?
Yes.
There's football on as we speak.
Yes.
And not just. All right. So can I say this first, just briefly? We'll jump into the college football playoff. If you have start sit stuff, by all means, the comment section chat is there for you. So please utilize that, and we will absolutely acknowledge it. Roman Reigns, and then get to it rather quickly.
Look at my caption, by the way, as well. I want to talk about that. That should be the next one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So as it pertains to the college football playoff, are you cool with 16, 18 now, whatever they want to do?
Hey, sort of, because every year the teams that are outside of the expansion always cry bloody murder. As if getting into the playoff is a guarantee that they're going to even play well or compete for a national championship. So I just think that I never thought, even when I said this back 9 years ago, I never thought that I'd miss the BCS. I never thought I'd miss it. It had its own share of corruption and politics and unfair rules and all of it. The BCS now makes a lot of this, what we see in the expanded college football playoff and the arguments for further expansion. It makes a lot of this makes more sense. Every week was a playoff game in the BCS. Once all the conferences, once all the conferences began conference play, it made the regular season actually the playoffs. You got to win or go home. You got to stay afloat. And understand this. The system itself wasn't without its share of flaws. No system is perfect. But what I want to say is this. We have to understand where money goes. The money in FCS was not in a bowl system. It was in the format by which they created their tournament. To move the FBS into the FCS, in the sake of fairness, is like, no, you got to respect where the money is. And that people who put millions in to making these brands and making these bowl games and bringing this prestige are not going to voluntarily sacrifice their asset for the purpose of fairness of college football. They're trying to make bread. Why does the Rose Bowl want to reduce itself so that way Boise State can feel more justified in their miracle run at a national title? What does the Rose Bowl ever have to care and have compassion for the fairness or the equitability of Colorado competing for a national championship? The Rose Bowl is the granddaddy of them all. Okay, the Sugar Bowl is the Sugar Bowl. They don't care. They've built their names off of creating the spectacle and the majesty and the prestige of their bowl game and the system by which it has been for several decades. They don't care about fairness. They don't have a reason to, because there's no financial obligation. Tell me how the Rose Bowl becoming part of a 2014 college playoff does more for the Rose Bowl's history than the Rose Bowl being the one game that the Big Ten and the Pac-10, whatever remains. Or tell me how it will earn more money for it Make the business case for it, because my point is money shouldn't rule everything, but money does rule a lot. So make the business case for a Sugar Bowl to say, hey, it'd be more fair if the college football playoff had more teams, whereby your Sugar Bowl is the first game of a national championship playoff. Where you don't have to say that if you're Buffalo State or Idaho State or Wyoming or wherever the heck Josh Allen played from. You don't have to say that, because it never was about that. It was about, hey, the teams that come here are going to play and then they'll move forward. That's what we're trying. That's what people are struggling or not dealing with, the reality of the matter. You want the fairness at the expense of the prestige. I would say, be honest with you, bring back a BCS that I think with some modifications, such that you may have maybe a more playoff, let's say modified sort of BCS, where you do from the BCS, you take the top 6 regardless. So that way your top 25 that you rank anyway, your top 25 becomes part of that calculation. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know that people. I think we're missing the mark. So now when we go to 18 teams, like what is the current? Like we go to 18 teams, what are we looking at? I'm going to
make the case for going bigger, and the reason why is you can look at it one of two ways, right? Did anybody not show up at Ole Miss Stadium for that first round game? No. Of course, that place was packed. However, I'm making the case for actually giving more relevance and more stock and actually more money to other bowls. And that's the reason I have this up here right now, because what I wanted you to see was, okay, so we have these games going on that are all, first round games. So we would essentially have more of those by nature of just having more teams, right?
Okay.
So if you look a little further down, here's the Cricket Celebration Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Bucked Up LA Bowl.
Okay.
And Salute to Veterans. What if instead of a home game, they were there? Because to your point, I could see the case being made, and again, have that being done regionally. Right? Which is, okay, for the first round game, there's only so much money, right? And they're going to squeeze every drop of the orange that they can. So I'm going to propose one of two things. Either keep it the same as far as make the additions as far as teams, but then keep the format the same where it's at that team's, the better of the two's home stadium. Okay? Because at that point, commercially speaking and logistically, it should be easier for teams to fill the stadium. Just given the
it'd be easier for having like more home games.
Correct.
Okay.
And if we're worried about people not wanting to go to the 68 Ventures Bowl, but this is where I disagree, right? If the 68 Ventures Bowl were a first round playoff game, I think you would get more people attending than actually currently attend those games.
Okay.
And each one you get again, right? The winner gets a trophy. So you get even more, right? Or keep them at home, but by expanding it out, what happens is, to your point, the Sugar Bowl ends up coming up in a few weeks and it doesn't lose its luster whatsoever, because it's still, if there's some kind of Cinderella team there, at that stage, they earned it. Because that implies that they would have had to beat someone at their own stadium, potentially, under this current existing format.
Okay.
And then at a neutral site versus an even better opponent.
Okay.
And now they're at the Sugar Bowl, which I don't think there would have been any doubt at that stage if somebody's won 2 games to get there.
Okay.
That they're more than deserving of such. What that should prevent is 2 things. Because remember, this is what's happening behind the scenes. You have Notre Dame that's saying, we want to make our own rule where we're exempt from the Power 5 rule. So we automatically get in if we fit within that format, which is the top 18.
Okay.
And what does that do? It prevents them from, of course, joining a conference and having to deal with all of that and the rights with NBC, etc. So you have a team attempting to kind of forego the prerequisites in order to get there.
All right. So you make the case that, all right. So my original argument was make the case that bowl games, like the major bowl games, you know, the big four, and then there was like kind of like outside of that, like the Peach Bowl, you know, make the case that the big four still maintain the importance to the championship picture that they did either, you know, in the BCS era, they cycled between the national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the tail end of the BCS era, they not only hosted their bowl game, but then the national championship was played a week after at one of those sites. It was cycled in, you know, so the national championship was separate from the Sugar Bowl or what have you. All right, so you actually make the case. As you were talking, I thought, though, and I often get distracted on this thing because I think about like how to make the bowl games matter still, because I think that they should still matter. But the bigger issue, and I think fundamentally the bigger issue, we're about to see it, is it tomorrow or next week? The bigger issue is that the bye weeks. That to me is a much bigger issue than, and for as much as I argued about bowl game, playoff format, BCS, non-BCS, the bigger argument is about the bye week. Let me explain what I mean. By the time the NFL reaches the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first team in each conference now, used to be the first two, but now it's the first team in each conference has a bye week where they get much needed, well-deserved rest.
Sub question quickly. Do you agree with that? That only the number one seed should get a bye?
That the only number. I remember when they had it has two, but I'm not overwhelmingly against it. We're gonna tell you, Dante.
Right, he's in the middle of that game.
Oh well, I think that I don't know. You might be able to tell us, Dante, but we're gonna get to you in a second. Should it only? Yeah, I remember when the top two teams got a bye, which is cool, and
oh my God, he has 0.
Home team or the top seed got home field advantage until the Super Bowl, which means that they got home field advantage for 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
If you were and then if you were a number 2 seed, you got home field advantage for effectively 1 game. So how fair was it?
Good point. Okay.
All right.
I'd say that, being in fantasy as a topic,
right.
The number 1 and 2 seeds in the leagues that I'm in,
yep,
both get a bye. And I kind of was like, wait a second. And the rationale was to give credence and merit to the toilet bowl. Otherwise, the toilet bowl couldn't be in there, apparently. And so I said at that point, open it up college football playoff style and leave the bye weeks because you have that customization. And that way your 10 versus 9 is already playing. If somebody goes on a Cinderella run, then it is what it is. But
all right.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
So like in a similar sense, that's why I'm saying to you, you're worried about the bye week.
All right. So here's my point. By the time the regular season is over, the last bye week in the NFL is done in week 12, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So by the time we get to the playoffs, even the top seed that gets the bye, they will have been playing for like 5 consecutive weeks. Okay. At least 5 weeks. If I got my weeks right, my bye week conclusion. In college football, we don't have that. And we know about momentum and rest and the precarious position you are in when you have an abundance of downtime, right? Unless you guys are unhealthy, the downtime can be that idle time can be somewhat sort of a pitfall. In trying to create a NFL type system in college football to make sure we have more teams playing or whatnot, we've done this thing where we've now got 12 teams and we've given the top 4 seeds a bye week to start the playoff. This bye week to start the playoff comes after the week in which they may have won their conference championship, or in Ohio State's case this year, they lost their conference championship. They lost the conference championship last week or 2 weeks ago. Last week, right?
Last week. Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, Michigan was after Thanksgiving. Last week, they lost. They're home. They lost. I mean, they're resting this week, right? And then bring up the playoff format again. Okay, this game is on now. Or this game concluded yesterday, so they were off this week, and then they play next week. My point is, last year, the top 4 seeds having a bye lost to teams that were fighting for their lives. Remember, the top 4 seeds had probably won their conference championship. In the case of last year, Ohio State, they won the conference championship. They waltzed through it. I mean, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's right. They lost to Michigan. So my point is this here, trying to make that format, if 1 through 4 lose again this year, like it happened last year, that tells you something about the rest and trying to create the NFL system. You're giving the teams too much rest. You're giving the top teams too much rest. And therefore you're getting a team that simply ain't ready to wake up or haven't woken up yet, haven't been in the throw of things. They haven't had game speed in a while.
In 2 weeks?
Well, why did all 4? Do you think that the top 4 last year were overrated? Some of them are, some of them were. All right, just like now. Do you think these top 4 teams are overrated? Do you think Indiana is overrated? You don't think Indiana is do you think Indiana is the best team in the country?
They beat the team that was previously.
Okay. Do you think Texas Tech is the 4th best team in the country?
Mm-hmm.
And Georgia's 3rd. So you think these teams are the best 4 in the country, right? Now, what would it say to you if, like last year, all 4 top seeds lose?
Then that statement, the previous statement, couldn't possibly have been true.
What's that?
Which is why, remember, but you got to keep this in mind. The rules are not the same year to year.
Okay, so just like last year, coincidentally, the top 4 teams, if it happens this year, the top 4 teams lose like they did last year, you don't think that there's a problem with the schedule, with the rest sit-start schedule? Because
to suggest that a team that's played 14 or 15 weeks and in particular actually had a bye week usually in between, especially these SEC schools, no, I don't see an issue with it at all. Matter of fact, the 18 that I have, I'm going to try to see if I can download it. I have the format itself where there would only be 1 extra week, and only you would have essentially 15 versus 18 and then 16 versus 17. And only the handful of teams would have buys. Basically, by adding 2 more games, that's all you're doing. Everything else essentially lines up with what you're seeing here. Let's see if I can get this image over.
All right. I'm just saying that I think that that it takes some, it will perhaps expanding the playoff. I'd be in favor of it if you're getting your top seeds more time on the field, because I'm telling you what, if 1 through 4 lose again this year, the primary catalyst for me, the primary cause for it for me would be the amount of rest time compared to their rival who's been active this time.
See that? So what we'll say is that same post this week, we'll call it.
Okay.
You get those two. I'll leave it up to you if you want to make that a home game or a neutral site, the 60. So here's the thing. There were 17,000 in attendance, or at least 17,000 tickets sold for the Delaware Blue Hens versus Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns in Mobile, Alabama. Okay. There were 17,000, and that capacity is 25,000 total. To me, if you put a play-in round like what you're seeing here,
okay,
at that bowl game, you'll get equal or greater.
Yeah, you will.
And so then as far as the other ones go, it would all kind of be the status quo here, right? That's now the only difference, to your point, is that team would have the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be sitting for 2 weeks.
They would be sitting for 2 weeks, and then they'd pay 1 game, 2 games, 3. They'd be sitting for 2 weeks, and then the eventual winner, let's say if it's one of the 4, will have played, be on that 3rd week. Meanwhile, their opponents respectively will have sat 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd start a week earlier. And then, they'd start a week earlier before they met the top 4.
You'd somewhat have an idea of who you're playing, right? To me, I mean, we see this often. The good part about college basketball in those tournament settings is that they're somewhat formidable and comparable, that a number 1 seed would be sitting for a little bit in a conference setting.
Right.
The Big Ten, the previous format, the tournament starts Wednesday. Your number 1 through 4 do not play until Friday.
Right.
To your point, to suggest that 53 person roster, if not greater, would come out flat. I have a feeling that that's going to be more on your coaching staff.
But okay, so that's exactly what happened last year. Like, to me, there is no. All right, please bring up the 2024 college football playoff.
All right.
Recognizing how great of a run it was for Ohio State to have to move in the way that they did, I think that they were undeniable in that sense of being there. But just look at. I wish we had it set up like we did last year, like you did for this year. All right. Okay, so the big bubbles are the top 4. These were the top.
Did anyone really believe that Boise State was the 3rd best team in the country?
Not
a chance.
I'm not okay. So, but certainly people believe that Georgia was 2nd best.
Certainly.
And look what they did.
Now, Ohio State, we know, had gotten a bad draw.
They did. Okay, so look what they did to Oregon.
Correct.
A team that they had lost to earlier in the season.
By a walk-off field goal.
Correct.
That was in Virginia. I happen to remember that.
Right. So they certainly proved to be formidable, right? But again, so taking nothing away from Ohio State, it's not necessarily to slight them, because no matter even what I'm saying is true. What Ohio State did, it would have to take a run like an Ohio State run in order to possibly argue against my point. And to their point, they did it. But So you mean to tell me Arizona State is that? Yeah, that's Arizona State, right? They didn't deserve to be number 4.
No.
Okay, what team deserved to be number 4? Should have been Texas.
I would have been okay with that. The fact of the matter is, at the time, I wasn't a big believer, and many are not, right? Which is why ultimately, that's why we're having what we have now, this particular year, which is we have to allow some of these other teams in and also have the auto qualifiers as well. So a combination, right? It's still somewhat of a work in progress. But what we can't have happen, because Notre Dame's case has been made, right? I think everybody knew Notre Dame was better than James Madison.
Okay.
The problem was the format. Notre Dame's not in a conference. So if they would have played in the ACC championship, as an example, we're not having this discussion about why is James Madison there. Matter of fact, James Madison beat Duke, who I believe won the ACC.
Got you. All right, pull up this year's again, please.
Oh, there we go.
All right, cool. So, well, yeah. All right.
Live update 6-3 Bears Packers.
6-3 Bears Packers.
To his point, TJ Moore still without a catch.
Do you know how many targets he's had?
1. You know what's wild is when the public typically, and this is why I hate that, right?
Okay.
Going into Thursday without Devontae Adams, the next immediate benefactor on that offense was Colby Parkinson on paper.
Okay, right.
Colby Parkinson had like 20 yards, dude. He didn't do crap. He didn't score. Barner scored on the other side. And it was Puka that got that. I don't know what's going on with him and his brother, like stealing an NBA player's car or something, but I saw that. I thought that was wild. Just sounds very LA, and like people have too much money and too much time.
When did this happen?
Like 2 days ago.
No. The car was stolen 2 days ago?
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, go ahead. Continue. I don't even want to entertain this. All right.
Yeah, he stole a Tiero's car. So Samson Nakua allegedly took the car without consent. That's wild. How does one acquire the keys? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I don't understand.
Anyway.
I keep just saying, I don't even understand. Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, good stuff. So, all right, we go back to your bracket here. Do you need a minute to compose yourself? Do you want me to take a scheduled commercial break?
Let's take a commercial break because my brain just glitched, bro. I ran out of lines of code. I got to reset the system.
We're doing all the drops. Every single one of them just for our host.
Yeah. You watching the Shop Report. I'm Harvey Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report. My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report. Oh, you're Jay Nolly, you're watching the Shop Report. Braxton Key, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Man, works at Murphy Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shock Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
Good
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching The Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching The Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to The Shop Report.
Hey, this is Howard Johnson. You're watching The Shop Report.
Hi, I'm Heath Bell from the New York Mets, and you're listening to The Shop Report podcast. Yeah!
Hey, I'm Josh Tolley, former catcher of the New York Mets, and you're watching The Shop Report.
This is Edgardo Alfonso for the Mets, and you're listening to Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching The Shop Report.
Hello, this is Mike Hampton, and you're watching Shop Report.
This is Kerry Cunningham, and you're watching The Shop Report.
Hey, C.O. Moore, tune in live to The Shop Report, man. Checking in with the Chicago Bears. You heard it here first.
Hey, this is Herman Harvey, former NFL offensive lineman with the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. And you're listening to The Shop Report.
This is Josh Cribbs, three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist. And you're listening to The Shop Report.
Cleo Miller, former Cleveland Browns, and you're listening to The Shop Report.
Hi, this is Dick Ambrose. You're listening to The Shop Report, and go Brown.
Hey, this is the top dog, Hanford Dixon. Listen to The Shop Report.
This is Ernest Biner, and you are listening to The Shop Report.
Hey, everybody, Jimmy Has from Cleveland Browns, and I can tell you my favorite podcast is The Shop Report.
All right, and we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you appreciated those that tuned in from the CO Lumbus and the CLE, baby, 216 Ohio. So as we were discussing, I was getting on my soapbox about the college football playoff. I was talking about the fact that my concern is that we don't get a repeat of last year, whereby the top four seeds in the playoff with the rest don't advance past their first round, if you will. And again, I'm going to acknowledge a run like Ohio State's. I'm not taking anything away from it, because it would have taken a run like Ohio State, like the one that Ohio State had, in order to, make a case for a remarkable championship. And so that's what we saw, right? Nonetheless, that don't explain the other three teams that were at home, or if you will, that failed to win their home game after a bye week, right? So we've got the upset of Ohio State, but maybe the favorites should have been the favorites. Nonetheless, I hope we don't have this year, because if we do, if we get a repeat of the top four failing to win their after the bye week, I think we need to rethink how they align, or how they organize, or how they structure the playoff tournament, because I believe that abundance of rest, that idle time, doesn't do well for the teams that have played themselves into a position where they're at least one of the top 5 or top 4 best teams in the country. So that's what we getting at. Let's see, we got a comment here. No, we don't have a comment here, so we're not going to bring that up. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Double J, for rejoining us.
That's right. Yeah. Again, for everybody out there, I know you're watching. We're on Twitter, also
Twitter,
Instagram.
Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. If you see us on your TV, somebody's watching their TV. Somebody's got their TV tuned in to the internet. And
if you're down bad, like, don't at me, bro, with the DJ Moore pick, then at us, and we will, in the comments.
Hey, did I just have another Unc moment? Because I did show enough call that dude Dante.
Yeah.
I did show enough call that man Dante me, bro. Yo, I did not realize that's what that was. Oh man, I'm old, bro. I'm old and I don't even realize it. I thought that man's name was Dante. Yo, hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're Dante to me, all right? All right, Dante me, bro.
You've been immortalized, absolutely.
Yes, as Dante me, bro. I swear to God. You just let me say it though, and you didn't even stop me. I know you heard. I was like, Dante, yeah, we're gonna get. I thought it, yeah.
I kind of was looking around, like, am I missing somebody? Like, or maybe he knows him.
No, I know that. No, Dante. I called that man Dante me, bro.
Oh man.
All right, Dante me, bro.
Yes.
Yeah. There's still time, Dante. There's still time.
Yeah, and the way this game is going.
Well, yeah. Hold on, wait a minute.
Okay, he's got 1 for 4. 4 yards. So PPR, he's got 1.4 points. That's brutal. But Caleb Williams only has 100 yards passing. I mean, 37.
You know what? Because they're getting killed on time of possession.
Oh, great point.
They're getting. I mean, yeah. So whatever the Packers have come, whatever the Packers are doing scheme wise, that's what the problem is. So we can't say. I don't know what your roster looked like before that, Dante, me, bro. But the time of possession is something that I don't know how many analysts, would plan for it. Well, I mean, there's probably a few. I don't think that was I think it's unexpected how dominant the Packers have been with time of possession, and while the Bears are at home, right? That's something that's unpredictable, that you couldn't predict that. So maybe scheme-wise, they're going to make some adjustments here in the late, or DJ Moore is going to figure his thing out for sure, and redeem himself. I mean, really, bro, when you're looking at that, all you need is a touchdown, and then you're gonna have a respectable, production out of him. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. It's been a rough go for both teams. I mean, 107 yards passing for Caleb Williams is not good.
And remember, Michael Parsons isn't there.
Man, another.
Yeah, so for the Packers to be doing what they're doing, it's not that everything just falls apart, but it's just like, hey, Michael was that guy. You know what I'm saying? Michael was, on a stellar defense. So you would expect some type of. One would understand if there is something amiss in their rush or in their they're not missing. They're stepping up. They're stepping up in the absence of a guy who's been a welcome addition. Remember that was the transaction. That was a transaction that put them in the has a lock, let's say, to win the NFC. But here come them Rams. And your boy, Matty Stafford. Come on, don't run, Double J. Come back here so we can give Matty Stafford his flowers.
Right.
Yeah. Come on back.
What, from Thursday's game?
For his career. Let's start there. For his career.
Well, you tell me. I mean, what I saw is that they lost on Thursday.
You put up 30 points and you're up by 2 touchdowns with 6 minutes to go. How do you put that on your quarterback? You put up 30 points, right? It wasn't like a 14-0 game you put up 30. You put up 30 and you up by 14 with 6 minutes to go.
And then
that's like blaming Matt Ryan for the Falcons collapse in the Super Bowl.
I don't know.
No, they were up 28-3.
Yeah.
He did his job.
30-14, and he gets picked off. But look at this, a minute 36 punt. Blake Corum. Incomplete. Punt return touchdown. Stafford, short right. Stafford, incomplete. Stafford, incomplete. It's time to accept that clutch is part of the equation. That's all.
Or maybe the Seahawks are just elite. Maybe the Seahawks. Maybe it might be that year.
It'll be interesting for sure because it's wide open between the three teams in the West there. So
no, what's the three?
San Francisco and Seattle and the Rams.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, so you saying the NFC West is wide open? So the NFC West is going to represent the Super Bowl. That's what you're thinking.
I think so. Look, you got Seattle 12-3, the Rams 11-4, San Francisco 10-4.
Wow.
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wow. That's a lot. They are combined. What's that? 13,
30 wins between 32 wins.
32-12. That's amazing. Now, who's the straggler in the NFC West?
The
Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
What they looking like?
I think they're 4 wins. So the Niners have the Colts tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monday, and then the Bears at home on Sunday Night Football following week, and then the Seahawks at home.
Wow, they got the Colts, the Bears at home, and the Seahawks at home. Okay.
I'll tell you right now, I think they win out.
The Niners?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Let's see, the Rams have at Atlanta and the Cardinals. Pretty easy. I think they went out too.
Whew. Hey, can you pull up those standings so we can see them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're out there and you got any fantasy questions, sit, start. Am I in trouble? Please let us know. We're gonna give you what you got. Hey man, how did we look last week overall?
Not bad. It could have been worse. The big miss was the Swift.
Swift. Yeah.
But we did make the call on players that weren't even asked about.
Yeah.
That we threw them out there that they would have good games, that they actually went off. So thankfully that was the case. But as far as everybody else, they didn't lose. And that was actually prefaced in one of those answers of ours, that regardless of who the guy picked out of the 2 choices, in one case, it wouldn't be the reason he lost if he went wrong with one versus the other.
Okay.
So, yeah, thankfully, in revisiting that, it was not a bad week after
all. It was not a bad week. Not a bad week at all. So it's not like we know what we're doing.
No, a few weeks ago, though, yeah, I missed 2 hard whiffs. Again, Khalil Shakir, I said I'd never recommend him again. Yeah. That was
so real quick, man, before we get into any of those questions, let me see this. Let's pull this up again. Let's zoom in. Let's look at these.
Well, now, are you all set? Before I move on, I want to make sure you all set with the college football playoff.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it's going to be. Hey, what games are going on right now, and what games have concluded?
So Oregon.
Actually, before we jump to the pro, yeah. Let's look at that real quick.
So Oregon's beating the brakes off of James Madison.
Good.
41-13.
Good.
And then earlier it was Ole Miss taking care of Tulane as well.
Ole Miss. Hey, so who's on the sidelines for Ole Miss?
Pete is his name. I only know that because they were cheering it, and he selling his hair, what looked like his hair. The kids were doing that with the visor.
And yeah. So Lane Kiffin. Wow. Now
thoughts on Lane Kiffin and dog sitting?
Yeah, that's a safe choice. That's a safe choice. It's just everything.
Sharon Moore.
Yeah, right, man. Hey, did you hear somebody sent him a book?
No. What do you mean?
Somebody said Search the interwebs. Yeah, he was sent a special edition of a certain book, of a certain novel, or a certain, not novel, but a book. Now I'll just leave it there. But yeah, so in the face of all the upheaval and the uproar about how colleges can't contend all this NIL money and how it's damaging the reputation and the integrity of the sport, and how college athletes are student athletes and this, that, and the third, you have a coach in the face of all of that doing something that's been that coaches have been able to do this entire time. Pick up and leave whenever they're good and damn well please. Sorry, Barbershop. I know this is a show we don't cuss.
It's after dark. He understands.
Still, but doing that. So like Lane Kiffin, the optics of it are crucial. It's because he's doing exactly what coaches have been able to do with impunity. While you ridicule players for not wanting to stay and endure or try, and not wanting to try hard or what have you. Now, I will say this, that there is something to be said about the ease at which players may want to enter themselves into the portal. I don't like it here. I didn't get to play today. I didn't get this formation, so I'm leaving. All right. We should see how the chips fall where they may, when players that leave on a whim or move on a whim, see how it does for them. Because I think my point is their conclusions will show up for themselves. Other players are going to stick and stay and going to compete. And the merit of guys staying when they really don't have to anymore should be more celebrated in this era. And I think it is. Like, you could leave and get money. You could leave and not have to suffer the consequences that you used to suffer from when leaving. You could do that, or you could stay. So the guys that stay should be, more power to them, like literally, that being said, coaches could do this all the time, and it was never, ever frowned upon by any university, right? And I don't understand, or there's no understanding that makes it make sense for a coaching staff to be able to pick up and go when players have committed to the philosophy of said coach, and that coach, while getting these players in their lives, remember to commit to the system and a process and a value and a prestige of a team, and he gone. You got 4 years that you locked into because of what this guy said, not because of this university. It's really because this athlete is going by what this coach said, and now he gone. So what can the university offer to a guy who's really there because of what a coach has said?
Interesting.
So we'll see how it plays out. One thing about it is Lane Kiffin has been able to get us to hate him, and then work his way back into the good graces of the fans of college football or pro football, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. Ole Miss was going to do damage. Ole Miss was certainly going to do damage, I think. You're just going to they certainly were going to do it with Lane Kiffin. Now, without him, it's very well possible. I mean, it'd be surprising if it does happen, but we certainly know that with him, they were going to do damage to anybody's college football dreams. But we'll see. Hey, you watch any boxing yesterday or last night or today?
I sure did, and I watched a dude get his jaw broke.
Yes. Yeah. What do you? Go ahead.
Go. You take the stage, right? I have a differing opinion, I'm sure, than many, and so I'd love to get your recap of the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight.
All right, bring me up center stage, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna get right into it. MVP Promotions is saving boxing. Yes. Hot take. Call it what you want to. I'm just going to be very clear, very concise. MVP Promotions is saving boxing because they're giving you a reason to watch the sport. You want to see this dude. You want to see Jake Paul get delivered what got delivered to him yesterday. You want to see it because he's not a boxer. He's not a real boxer. He's making a mockery of the sport. But here's the problem. Here's the problem that you're having. The problem that you have is Jake Paul and MVP Promotions does something that PBC doesn't figure out how to do, that Showtime stopped doing, that HBO stopped doing. They put together cards with names you could recognize and people that you might be interested in seeing. One thing about Jake Paul's fights and the MVP cards, the undercards have been purely, from a pure standpoint, the undercards have been marginal at worst, great at best. MVP Promotions figured out how to do that. Rather, what brought you to the big tent special, the main event, it can be whatever the spectacle and the circus that it is, but the cards themselves are stacked and prepared with somebody who actually is trying, somebody who actually, sorry, Double J, sorry, Barbershop, somebody who actually gives a damn. This is why we get decent matchups on the undercards, if nothing else. This is what PBC could take notes of. This is what the IBF, WBO, WBA, and WBC especially should be able to take notes. We don't watch boxing anymore because we don't know who we're watching. We don't watch boxing anymore because you put these arbitrary alphabet letter interim super world titles in the way to try to tell us this guy is great. We don't know who he is. We don't know who we're watching. This is why we could draw into watching a 50-year-old Anderson Silva fight Tyrone Woodley. Spectacle that it is, I know the name, and I know this proceeds because I know this guy's a fighter. And we watched it yesterday. Then we finally got what we had been waiting for. We finally got somebody with some above average boxing skill in the ring with Jake Paul. So for those purists that were so thirsty, starved for Jake Paul to get his lessons because he's making a mockery of the sport, here it is. We got it in emphatic fashion. And I believe, and I take Anthony Joshua at his word, he was not trying to figure out, he was moving intentionally to draw him into the later rounds. Why? Because you know why? Because I seen Floyd Mayweather do it. I seen Floyd Mayweather get in the ring with a guy he severely and massively outclassed and dragged him for 12 rounds such that he could save the value and the integrity of the sport. He did it to Carlos Baldomir. When Carlos Baldomir messed up the payday that was supposed to happen when he upset Zab Judah to take that title before Zab Judah and Mayweather were supposed to clash. In round 1 or 2, you clearly knew that there was a gap in skill between Carlos Baldomir and Floyd Mayweather, and Mayweather carried that fight for 12 rounds. Same thing that I saw, or a similar thing that I saw with Anthony Joshua. He knew who he was up against, and he clearly established that, okay, this guy he's here to run, and I'm going to make him pay for it. And I believe him that he took that long deliberately to do what he inevitably did. Great for Jake Paul for taking that fight. Great for Jake Paul for actually getting his jaw broke and being willing to be in there with a guy who had the capability of doing that. For 2 reasons. One, we wanted to see him get his jaw broke. Secondly, he did something that by saving the sport, because now with Jake Paul being in the ring with a real fighter, he's able to satisfy the purists' thirst and hunger for him to be embarrassed. And it happened. Jake Paul delivered that by signing up for the match. MVP Promotions is saving boxing. And you know how I'm telling you he's going to save boxing? Tell me then the next time you have a card that from top to bottom measures up to be better than one that MVP boxing put on. I'll put it this way. We know that Canelo Crawford card was good. The main event was worlds better than any main event that MVP Promotions has. Tell me this, what about the undercard? And when you get cards that stack up better than MVP Promotions cards, then you can tell me MVP Promotions is not saving boxing and they're doing a harm to the sport. Until then, I want Jake Paul to get his rest. And I like what's in my, hold on, let's look below. I'd like to see that one next. And in the meantime, put some number one contenders for some Ring magazines and some WBCs and some IBFs in the undercards for us to get that name recognition. So that way, if the sport is really damaged by MVP Promotions, it'll show up because PBC will put on better cards. And I'm done.
Wow. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't expect that take completely. I agree with many of your points about, Barbershop Jake called it an event, not boxing.
That's fair. I can understand that.
But in doing so, shouldn't a boxing match be an event, right?
They all are. What is sports?
Entertainment.
There we go.
See, so I agree, and I'm gonna say this, where I give him more credit than anybody, I feel like. Here we go. I'm doing it.
Go ahead. Do it.
Sonny Liston. Okay.
Yep.
Known for, of course, one of the, that is who Muhammad Ali became champion. Took it from, that is. Okay. So I have Sonny Liston went 50-4 with 39 knockouts. Okay. He never would retain the belt from Ali or ever again after losing it, however. Okay.
He went 50-4 with how many knockouts?
39.
39. Got you.
Very impressive. They're undeniable.
Right.
Until you start looking at it in the lens that I'm pointing out.
Okay.
And that lens happens to be his first 10 professional fights.
All right.
And here's what we have.
What do we got?
All right, so we have first one was Don Smith, and then take a look here, Ponce de Leon.
Whoa.
Folks, Ponce de, if I go to Google Ponce de Leon, Gully, what am I going to get?
Not this guy.
I'm going to get Juan Ponce de Leon, which is the, of course, the otherwise known as the Explorer, but not this guy. To your point.
Look, they don't even got this guy.
He apparently has one follower. That's bizarre.
Hey, yeah. I don't care about Caroline Levitt.
Well, remember, I'm not in control of these ads.
That's one way to put it.
So again, Ponce de Leon somehow. Look, dude, who are these people? Come on.
That's what happens when you zip up too fast in the restroom.
Something about Mary.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying here is, okay, we'll go. Well, how about this? We'll go Muhammad Ali. Seriously? All right. Hang on a second.
Just type it all together. Type it all in. You're going to put it in clay, ain't you?
Well, that's what I'm trying to make sure of. All right. And so, again, none other than Muhammad Ali, 56-5. And we go down here. What do we get? We're going, wow.
Now, see, I was hoping you didn't do this. But look. Hold on.
Duke Sabotage.
No, you skipped right over Lamar Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Clark was 43-2.
Okay, one good fighter. Okay.
35 and listen.
And he beat him in 1 minute and 27 seconds?
Yeah. Because Ali was that guy. Right now.
All right, let's go through his then.
Listen, look at Lamar Clark, man.
Come on, bro. Come on, dog.
Listen, he's 3 fights away from Rocky Marciano. You know, 6 fights away. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Listen, he was that dude. He was that guy. You know what I mean? You ain't heard about him. Listen, I think I need to get where you're going. All right.
Who are these folks? Oh, you know what? All right, hang on. We'll go Jake Paul. 12-2 with 7 knockouts.
Do they recognize? You see how? Yeah. Do they? Right. He fought debuts.
10-1.
Yeah.
17-2.
Right.
50-6. Who's that guy? 54-6. Gully. This is the only problem I have when it comes to the hate.
Wait a minute. Chavez Jr. got 54 wins?
That's what I mean. Fought the ghost of his dad.
And lost.
What do you mean, 54 wins?
Yeah, every time I've seen him. Right,
it's been a loss, right?
No, wait. Sidebar. We're going to go on this side quest real quick. Click on Chavez Jr.
All right.
Nah, 7. Just scroll down. Hold on. Jake Paul. Yeah, Anderson Silva. More able to get Danny Jacobs. Canelo Alvarez. Right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Every time he's been on the big stage. Yeah, he lost to Sergio Martinez. Like all of his marquee, like I don't think he's won a marquee fight in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think I see where you're going. Like, you know, even our Hall of Famers, the great names that we know of, they fight scrubs in the beginning, if you will. Jake Paul is no exception to that. And then the way he looks when he's in the ring, it leaves a great deal to be desired. My point is, why can't boxing put together cards that show this? What I'm saying is, why aren't the cards and the fighters in the cards that the pure boxing fans and the authentic boxing world, why aren't they putting cards together consistently that deliver like this? Why do we have so much bureaucracy between fighting champions? Why are there so many championship titles that impede you from being a unified champion? Why wouldn't the sport want a more valid attempt at unifying the titles? Why do you pay sanctioning fees? Anyway, when the sport makes that money, because I'm fairly certain they get a revenue share of the cards. I'm fairly certain they don't only make money because of the sanctioning fees that the fighters pay to be part of it. You know, to be recognized as WBC number 6, I'm paying a sanctioning fee. I don't know how it works, but I can't imagine they're just only getting it from the fighters. So
Okay.
This is where again, and just to restate what I stated earlier, this is where MVP Promotions is saving boxing. Put together better cards, stacked 1 through 4.
So I'm going to ask you this.
Listen. Matter of fact, and for the second time, or if not the third time, the women's match that them MVP Promotions fight, them are the best women's fights of the year.
Hands down.
Every single time. Baumgartner, she started slow. This may not have been one of her best performances, but that fight got good, got great later. It was a slow build. It was good, but it wasn't one of the best women's fights. But the 2 best women's fights I've seen have been on MVP cards.
That's a good point. Completely agree.
Katie Taylor, Serrano, right? 2 and 3 were on MVP cards. Were they not?
Correct.
Okay, then.
Great
Let
point.
Clarissa Shields fight on.
That's what I'm saying. I would love that. I would love to see that.
If she fights on the MVP card, because if he ain't got if he don't have it inside the ring, Jake Paul, certainly he knows what to do inside of the arena.
And this is why I have a big issue with the general disdain and slander that came across this, because as I pointed out, you show me somebody that has a better first 10 fights. I don't care that one of them was Nate Robinson. The other one was a French explorer.
Right. Right.
Okay. So, or better, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, yes, you share the same name with an explorer.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Right. And that Nate Robinson fight should have, I remember that. I talked about that one. That Nate Robinson fight that should have told you part of who Jake Paul was. He's a tryhard if he ain't nothing else.
He's in year 6 of this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people year 6 are not that accomplished with this. Yes, he got his jaw broke. Fantastic.
Right.
Here's the thing. Anthony Joshua was about 45 pounds heavier than where he would normally fight.
Okay.
That fight was supposed to be against Thomas the Tank. I'm only doing that because he's more famous than Tank.
Right.
He had every reason once that broke down to just say, we're done. We're going to put this on ice for a while until I can find somebody else that fits the criteria in which I was training for.
Okay.
He chose to go up,
and
he paid the price for it.
Now, what do you mean go up, though? How much was he going to weigh when he fought Tank? When he still going to be a heavyweight? What was he at?
Believe, because Tank typically fights lightweight.
Right.
So
where was Jake Paul supposed to fight? At what weight was he going to come into the ring?
195, a catch weight.
Where does heavyweight begin?
200. Anthony Joshua was around 245.
All right, so but once you get to heavyweight, there is no.
Yeah, and that's why he was able to go up and just kind of deal with it.
Yeah,
and try to deal with it. Try to deal with it.
Right.
Easy, clearly easier said than done. At one point, I thought his leg was broke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He started dragging that mug, and I was
might have done better doing MMA. Maybe. No, that probably would have been even worse.
Under short notice, I think it could have ended bad.
Yeah.
But in general, the point is, it's undeniable how good Anthony Joshua was at one point in time, and arguably still is based on that exhibition that outing he just had.
Right.
Do we get another Joshua Fury? Probably, I would say. And if he goes and beats Tyson Fury, which out of the two, I would say right now that's based on what I saw, he looks ready to go for that. And I think those guys, what would that be? The trilogy between the three, or between is that 3 between them? Those two?
No, Fury and Joshua have never met.
No,
it's Usyk that Joshua has never beat, and Usyk is the guy that's also beat Fury.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
He's only 29-4, and obviously Tyson's 34-2. Well, and again, is that an MVP promotion?
Yeah.
So what is Jake Paul bringing that everyone else is missing?
Jake Paul,
just saying he has a punchable face isn't enough.
What Jake Paul? No, that's part of it. But again, I prefaced it. Remember, the crux of my argument is the overall card that he puts together. He's got himself with a network that's easily accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's easy for you to find his fight. You're not paying an excessive premium to watch the matches. So if you want to be on that stage, you go to an MVP promotion, they already have the audience for you to make or establish a name for yourself. PBC doesn't have that. I got to chase which network it's on. I got to pay a premium after premium. I've got to pay for internet, then a subscription to ESPN, then the fight. No, I'm not doing that. There's 3 paywalls just for me not to know who the hell I'm watching and it to be a hug fest. Why? No, that's what it is. It is a very, very thin, very short distance between fighters and a larger audience. That's what MVP Promotions does by being on Netflix. Cuts through all of that.
Interesting. And that's why I think I completely agree with you. I think he has shaken up the sport for the better.
And they're annoyed that and the key is they're annoyed that he's doing it because he's not a good fighter. He's not a good boxer. It's like when Vince McMahon was the world heavyweight champion. He's not a great wrestler, but he knows the sport. Like, to have him wrestling, have him being a champion, have him in the ring being an active athlete was an embarrassment to the very thing he's propping up. But that's probably, for what it's worth, that at least from that perspective, from the optics of it, being the circus, being the ring master and also being in the ring, that's a flaw. Like the other stuff, we can talk about it at a separate point. That's a separate point to be made. But that was the biggest flaw. It's like watching Vince McMahon actively trying to compete with. It would be kind of like right now, Hunter still actively competing for a world heavyweight champion, being the COO with Cody and CM Punk and Gunther and Oba, actively competing for the title. That's what the embarrassment would be. And that's what we getting with Jake Paul. Outside of that, tell me a better card you've seen. Again, like the point I keep making, tell me a better card you've seen this year. And then you can tell me a better card you've seen. And also, because I don't want to put yourself into a box to say I'm right, tell me a better card you've seen and or a card with a better fights or more notable fighters that has stacked with people that that can read. You can't tell me who was on the Crawford Canelo undercard. And that was brought to you by the same damn network.
Right.
On Netflix. It's exactly my point. I even surprised myself. It's exactly my point. Crawford and Canelo are the 2 biggest names in the sport. Look at their undercard. With all the money that could have flowed into that fight.
My bigger concern with this, and this is why I'm suggesting that something really does have to change, is that the Saudi money is reportedly drying up as it pertains to the entertainment stuff. And so if you lose that, you technically are going to lose the talent, right? The Canelos, the Crawfords from participating.
Okay.
to me, the sport was already on life support, right?
Right.
Which is why I keep suggesting that it's similar to the case that you made and the many wonderful points that you made about how Paul somewhat exploited those vulnerabilities.
Yes.
And so it concerns me more that we may only see an annual or a semi-annual card that resonates with individuals at best in the near future without additional intervention taking place, because now the big money has gone elsewhere or simply no longer visible or the opportunity is no longer there for that.
Right. Now, I'm curious. While I have my guesses, I'm curious to hear if that is true that the Saudi money is drying up, and then why the Saudi money is drying up. Because I have my guesses, but I don't want to immediately propose what I think it is. So I'd like to know, I want to research that to find out what and why and where.
So the underlying public investment fund faces financial pressures leading to a potential slowdown or new realism in spending.
What's the final? What are those pressures?
Some sources claiming it's running low on easily accessible cash for new larger scale projects, though Saudi officials deny major cuts, hinting at a shift to more domestic focus and financial pragmatism for future big events. So this could mean fewer massive boxing paydays and more modest strategic spending, impacting the era of record-breaking purses.
Is TKO and is that also a contributing factor, or is that also like part of the scope of the Saudi entertainment portfolio, if you will?
No, they are separate. I just shot you the link to the New York Times article as well.
All right.
$1 trillion originally they were supposed to invest. Apparently, again, they're mentioning hard to sell assets which have no public valuations.
Got you. I wonder what those assets are.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Spokesman said it had $60 billion in cash. Prince fired the head of at least one of its imperial projects, according to two people briefed on the matter. Meanwhile, the fund is furiously slashing internal financial projections for various investments, including a string of luxury resorts on the Red Sea that sit mostly empty.
Ooh.
So obviously we're seeing, something similar currently. Shout out Vegas Paulie C, who pointed out that certain properties are losing well over $1 million a day.
So now's a good time to go to Vegas?
Well, as much as they've gouged of late, and that's why you haven't seen me there. And I mentioned that to you the last time I was on property.
Yeah.
That it would be a while before they saw me again. And they needed to redefine what luxury, not so much just what luxury is, but more so how you treat people. We'll just call it that.
All right. How you treat people.
And so, to suggest that now certain offers that I'm receiving are certainly much more appealing and attractive as a whole. This sounds like they need to go. They're probably based on the shakeup at the sea level that they mentioned are going to experience some similar things as well, would be my guess.
Well, we'll stay tuned for that.
Right. Final thoughts on Jake Paul.
Like I say, shout out to MVP Promotions. And if you don't like it, boxing fans, put together cards and find a way to get us to the fighters that are really good in the sport, promote them better, make them easily accessible to the audience, and you won't have to deal with an MVP promotion. You won't have to deal with a YouTuber making the money that you should be making otherwise. Till then, why are your jaw shut like Jake Paul's?
Facts. With that being said, we'll be returning momentarily to break down this NFL slate. It is 16-6 in Chicago. So with just a few minutes left, DJ Moore did catch another pass for about 20 yards or so. So
all right, you might get 6 points.
Brutal. And with that being said, we'll be right back after these paid promotions.
Stop scrolling! Your perfect Frenchie is here! Redbird Frenchies in Kentucky has adorable pups from our newest litter. And even some sweet pups from our previous litter still looking for their forever homes. Don't wait! Visit redbirdfrenchies.com and bring home your new best friend today.
SK Cunningham, you watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Howard Johnson. You're watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Herman Harvey, former NFL offensive lineman with the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens, and you're listening to the Shop Report.
Private parties at Legacy Adventure Park. What all do you get? A personal guide to lead you through the day. A private shelter with your gear prepped for gameplay. Shuttles to and from 7 of the best fields in the state. Safe zones to watch the gameplay risk-free. And all the food, drinks, and gear to keep you in the game. Book your private party today at Legacy Adventure Park.
All right, just like that, we are back. Let's dive into this fantasy football stuff. Current score 26-48, just quickly between Oregon and James Madison. So they are putting up a little bit more of a fight.
Let's go, JM.
All right.
Hey, while we're on the subject of Madison, right? Recently started a diet change, man. Where I'm working to drastically reduce excess sugar.
Okay.
Say all that to say, hey man, do you remember Dolly Madison Bakery?
Vaguely.
Or it's just the inner fat kid in me. Dolly Madison pies, man. Oh man.
Oh yeah. No, oh my gosh.
Yeah, bro. What happened to them?
That's a good question. Now I'm intrigued. Hang on.
They still around,
Bakery
bro?
in Georgia.
They still around? Oh, Hostess owns it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the zingers and such. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Dolly Madison had the zingers. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh, and they changed the brand name. And then, see, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, they had right. Dolly Madison had the zingers. Hostess now, no, bro. I remember they had the pies, man.
Can Megacorp stop poisoning the foods and then just ruining them? I guess
nah, bro. Listen, man, that's a deeper discussion for a deeper, more serious show, man. But I think that's the thing about it is I think in the ebb and flow of things, we're starting to recognize that corporate takeover right? Corporations consolidating were good because local didn't have it. Corporations did. Corporations brought things that we couldn't reach back to us. But now now that they have and they own everything, we need to create a division. We need to go back local. Here's what I mean by that. I'm making this little logo here. I'm doing this thing here because what we recently discovered here, locally in Columbus, Ohio, we discovered a meat market. I'm gonna have to shout them out for promo. We'll talk to them. We'll talk. Yeah, I gotta send them some love. But the beef, the texture, the color, the taste, it is so well worth the price. Add to the fact that they're priced competitively. So much to the point that I don't necessarily care about the price because it's either tastes better than what I can get from the national grocer, or it might in fact be cheaper than I can get from the national grocer. Plus, it tastes better. My point is sourcing locally. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to that such that we can break us free from the pressure of what the big mega corp can do for us, because they put in stuff that they, clearly they don't care about us, like Michael Jackson says. But we obviously know that there are conflicting interests at play. Food companies are owned by the medicine companies, right? So why wouldn't foods that could contain carcinogens be placed in the food?
Are you suggesting that the conspiracy theory that the chemicals?
I'm suggesting that you look at BlackRock's portfolio and Vanguard's portfolio, and darn it, if I'm not conflicted, if I should get a VTXAX or not, because I know what it can do, but then I also know what it can do, right? Maybe I should just start learning how to make my own clothes and play my own guitar and grow my own food. Then I'd become a Mennonite. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Very dangerous talk on this program.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Cancel This Clothing Co. is a good one. It's a good place to start if you want to know who owns what in what aisle. That's why the very little bread that we do have, you will see Russo's, because they're still independent. Spell it out, Webby. And so, do you know what that means? And speaking of independent, we independently have some data for you, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. Yet the spread currently, Gully, is 4, but the Dolphins are moving away from Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, Noah, what do you say with Quinn Ewers going behind center for the Dolphins?
I said that they're packing up. They got to figure this thing out. And they're like, yo, let's see what we got. Look out in that draft because, yeah.
It came out that there were Miami had offered 4 first-round picks for what became, the Joe Burrow pick. Any thoughts?
They offered 4? They wanted to get Joey B?
Correct.
Imagine what the story would have been with Joe Burrow in Miami. With Joe Burrow in Miami, would they have, hold on, if history had gone its way, would they have still ended up with Tyreek Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I mean, he got Jamar Chase and all that. But Miami's problems center around quarterback. So unfortunately.
Do you think it's right when you talk about injuries, that's the hard part always, right? Barbershop Jay always kind of throws that in there. Oh, you can't stay on the field, right? We know it's, but
right, no, it's valid in a sport like football. It's a valid thing I think it's a valid criticism of those who criticize players who can't stay healthy. It's such a violent sport. Like, so I don't say it in, I give more respect. I have more courtesy or more empathy for players who are injured in football than I may have in basketball. Because in basketball, typically, having played the sport, at a somewhat competitive level, or at least the ability to play the sport recreationally at my age, I can see that the tendency of injuries to happen in basketball tend to be mechanical, in that the player training himself to move or stretch can go a long way at preserving his longevity. Think of it this way. Steph Curry was injury prone and an injury risk, which is why he was drafted in the manner that he was. Getting proper nutrition, proper diet, proper exercise, proper strength conditioning, he's been much healthier than he was when he started. And again, that what I said about Steph Curry has to do with the individual getting better trained. A football play ends in a car accident 8 times out of 10. And that's how you have to end the play. You don't end the play by pushing them out of bounds. You end the play by driving them to the unforgiving turf or largely unforgiving grass with a 275-pounder at least on your back. So that's why I have more empathy. But sorry to get long in that diversion. But when it comes back to the injuries, yeah, they play a part. And so, again, I have more empathy when you talk about injuries in football. Nonetheless, at a certain point, though, you do have, as an organization, you have an obligation to field a winning team. So you have to move in a certain way at a certain point.
Bears, 1 minute remaining. They did get the onside kick. They are driving. The ball is at the 12-yard line. We are at 50 seconds and counting. Do you think it changes the fortunes entirely? Or with a bad offensive line, does Burrow suffer a similar fate?
Sure. So it's a case that we think that the Dolphins' offensive line contributed to his.
To Tua?
Yeah.
Partially. I wouldn't say, entire. I mean, look, Burrow's had really similar issues when it came to a bad offensive line. I mean, I look at the supporting cast and I ask myself similarly, hey, looks like he would have had a better running back. Maybe, the tight ends are interchangeable. Tyreek Hill wouldn't have been bad for him.
Right. No, not at all.
3rd and 4, 32 seconds remaining. Bears at what looks like maybe the 8-yard line.
The Green Bay 6.
Oh,
hold on. They might be able to force overtime. 3rd and 4, 32. I mean, this is as clutch as you get. DJ Moore, help our guy, Dante Mebro.
Swift, please.
Oh, okay. Like I said, DJ Moore, help our guy, Dante Mebro.
Oh, yeah.
I'm old.
What was that?
32 seconds. What do we see?
We got a 4th and 4. See, I don't completely, with one timeout left, I don't like the play calling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
especially where they were. Get the first down, and then the world is somewhat your oyster there, right?
Right. Go for the you only need 4 yards.
Now you're kind of in a rough spot. They're likely going to bring some heat here, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going. And he looks wide open. Touchdown.
Wow. Who caught the touchdown pass?
Number 20.
Dang it. Sorry, Dante.
Jade Walker.
Sorry, bro. That's got to be so disappointing.
Bro, he had to check down wide open. He turned to his right. I mean, yeah, the guy's right there, but 1 foot, 2 foot.
He's in for sure.
It looked that way to me.
Yeah. So the Bears are 10 and 4. Right.
Oh, there's hope. Okay. Oh, you're right, man. I thought they were about to kick the extra point and this thing was over. Oh, man, I thought he missed, bro.
Well,
we got ourselves a ball game after all, which includes DJ Moore. Yeah, so just kind of diving into, we'll keep an eye on that one for you guys as well. But total over-under was 47.5. Implied team totals 25 for the Bengals, 21 for Dolphins. I don't know. I don't think I have. Here's where I'm torn. Right? Is that yes, the Cincinnati defense is bad.
Yep.
But not necessarily against a rookie quarterback.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So hold on. I say right because I'm saying the logic may sound good because I'm thinking as a metaphorical argument in general that would be the case. But tell me in particular to Cincinnati this year, or in particular to defenses in years past versus rookies. You got any case examples?
Phillip Rivers last week. He wasn't terrible, but just again, generally speaking, a more seasoned quarterback is going to be better off. I think this is a higher, more indicative of the fact that they're really trying to just move on from Tua. But the way that the contract's written, I don't agree. I don't think they're going to do that either. I don't know. This is a mess to me. This is completely a mess to me.
Yeah. What is this contract looking like? I mean, it's not a Deshaun Watson situation, but
almost.
Yeah. Like how much money, man?
He signed a 4-year, $212 million extension in 2024.
A 4-year, 212. It is a Deshaun Watson. Good. Good. How much guarantee?
53 annually, with 167 in total guarantees, including over 93 million fully guaranteed at signing.
That man got $93 million. He got $1 million 93 times.
Oh man.
$1 million 90.
Dude,
Yeah.
Look at it. Next year, the base. Why are we benching him? Leave him in and her. I'm going to sound terrible.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't
Yeah.
say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Massages.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Yeah, make it work.
$56 million cap, 99. If they cut him, that's it.
What you mean?
They would be $100 million in the hole.
If they cut him, so they can't. Yeah, they can't cut him. That's $100 million.
Oh my gosh, dude. I guarantee you, whoever made that deal, that general manager's gone. There's no way.
Yeah, because he played himself into a situation where he didn't necessarily warrant the. I'll put it this way: there was skepticism in giving him that $212 million extension. Like his play made it skeptical, right?
Oh,
now,
absolutely. This is brutal. This is one of the worst ones I've seen, dude. This feels like, we were going through the James Harden stuff.
Yeah.
In Kawhi.
Yeah.
This feels like that. But in like, what do you do? I wouldn't even take the job as a general manager. I wouldn't want it because I'm toast.
Because I'd have to figure this out.
Yeah, there's no way I can work around $100 million in dead cap by cutting him.
Now, when it becomes that $100 million in dead cap, is that over the remaining years of said? So you down $100 million, which is effectively 30. Are you down $100 million at once, or are you down $33 million per year?
No. This is how it would work. So when a player is released or traded before June 1st, all of the dead cap remaining on his contract accelerates into the current year. So it's a 1 year. Which, by the way, means you're going to go into a luxury tax because you do have other people that you're paying. Now, if you trade him, but remember, if you're going to trade him, somebody also has to agree to take on the deal.
Right.
And you're still paying him to go away. Now, this is what
we look at like Russell Wilson, where he got traded to Pittsburgh.
Perfect example. Absolutely perfect example.
So Denver traded him such that they avoided the cap by sinking him, and he played ball with Denver's money.
Literally.
All right.
To a similar extent, we saw that with Justin.
So he was a
Fields
Pittsburgh Bronco or a Denver Steeler.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is fantastic. So so you have that hanging over your head. It's just so if anybody's considering out there, just for context, Quinn Ewers had a 2.3 second time to throw and a 6.1% turnover throw rate, as well as a 53% completion rate in the preseason. And so he would have the fastest time to throw with the second lowest completion rate to Shedeur. But in Shedor's case, it's because Judy don't know how to use his hands, tries to basket catch everything.
Right, which is what we saw in that touchdown.
Yes, you mean the interception?
Right. The basket catch. Yeah, if he had put his hands up.
Yeah. So again, I would say the only benefactor to me is would be maybe Darren Waller, the tight end, because that's usually a check down guy.
Yep.
And of course the running back. He still should be okay. Otherwise, anything you like in this game?
I like for it to be over. I'm going to take the Bengals.
I'm going to agree with you. Moving on to the Chargers, Cowboys, and two teams. Dallas officially eliminated, and over under at 50, so a higher implied total, and some good plays, I would say, is Justin Herbert, of course. Like, the Dallas defense now has nothing to play for, but then also they almost have nobody to play in their secondary. They're missing Bland, Wilson, Revel, Diggs, Carson, Butler, and they were already 29th with those guys.
The Chargers at 10-4, riding a 3-game winning streak. Second best in the division, next to the Denver Broncos. I think they're warming up. They're getting hot. I don't see any reason. I don't see any given Sunday situation happening this week because I believe that they're still playing for positioning, so every game matters. And the division still isn't out of reach for as hot as the Broncos are. That being said, they're going to come out, play competitively. I like the Chargers in that game to win relatively. It won't be an ugly one for them, in my opinion. I'm picking the Chargers.
I agree with you. I would say anybody on the Dallas side, maybe take a look at, even tough rank for CD and for Pickens. Ugh. And Jake Ferguson. Javonte Williams plays better at home. Literally, that's where we're at with that game. Moving on to the Bucks versus the Panthers and 45 points. We saw the, of course, return of Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs for Tampa. And Baker looked okay. And so he was quarterback 17 versus Atlanta, however. And of course, I would say Mike Evans was listed as questionable, but he looked very good.
Yep.
They being Carolina, 27th in fantasy points allowed to wide receiver ones and 29th in yards per target to wide receiver ones.
All right, go ahead, man. Tell me why Carolina's going to win.
One thing that Bucky Irving owners, I will say, pay attention to the fact that Sean Tucker started getting some red zone looks. So be very wary of that. Let's see. The Bucs secondary has been bad. Not last year bad, but bad. So the last handful of quarterbacks, 270, 2 touchdowns, 317, 3 touchdowns, 273, 3 touchdowns, 301, 2 touchdowns, 144, 2 rushing touchdowns, because that's the guy from New Orleans that I mentioned. And then Cousins, even 373 and 3 passing touchdowns. So that's where I mentioned to D Nice there in the Discord that Coker could have a good game. And also, obviously, Ted McMillan and those guys as well. So go ahead. What do you got?
I hate riding against my boy, but Baker, but I think Carolina's got a lot more going for them. So
this is a big game, dude.
This is a big game for the division. No, do I mean that, man, or am I just talking stuff? Because, man, Mike Evans is back. Baker's, and we got the division at stake. We got him at first. Mind says go with Baker. I'm going Tampa Bay. What do you got?
This will be interesting. It's close. It's close.
Yeah. So who you got?
I'm going to go with them also.
All right, cool. So we in sync on these first 3 picks. Now, what do we got?
The Jets versus the Saints.
Jets versus the Saints. Jets, Jets versus the Saints, Saints. Ooh.
There's their quarterback. Brutal.
I want to know, what is it like progressing through a season on a losing team? Like, all jokes aside, like because of how brutal this sport is, what's it like? You 3-11, 4-10. What is it like gearing up to play when both teams are like this? Because I sense apathy on both sides. Now, if you are a 3 and I think I think it might be a different answer, different scope. If, let's say, you are on a 3-11 team and you going against a team that is fighting for a playoff victory, like fighting for, like the Jets, let's say they were playing the Saints and the Saints were, battling for the NFC South. The Saints were 7-7 as well. I want to know what the mindset is like. Is it different? Because I think it would be hard to get up for that game. Nonetheless, I like the Saints at home.
I have to agree with you. Despite the injuries across the board, I just feel like, unfortunately, this is I mean, Devin Neal, just for the Saints, went on IR as well. So we're going to probably see Audric Estime and Evan Hall, which is a name I've not heard in a while. I think he's from Northwestern. So, but the quarterback play in particular is the biggest difference for me.
Yep.
Tyler Show's been, I think, QB 15-ish, right in that realm there.
Yeah.
Likes to run a little bit more, but so if you have him, great. But if you're playing against him, he can hurt you a little bit. But yeah, rough. Give me the Saints at home as well.
All right.
Moving on to the Vikings at Giants. Who do you like here? JJ McCarthy's starting to look like 9 again.
Yeah. Of course, I'm going Minnesota over NYG.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the blitz rate is the one that I'll say pay attention to. I didn't expect the Giants to beat Washington last week. But I will say McCarthy, again, looking better. I think they have more to play for. And I think Brian Flores' defense will actually kind of slow down Jackson Dart quite a bit. So I agree with you. And then Bills at Browns. Is there really much to say here?
Yeah, there is, because any given Sunday, man, listen, I know Brother Rich would be greatly entertained for me to be picking my Browns. I don't think he'd believe it. But, at home, Buffalo's a playoff team. Buffalo's coming in with some fire. When you have optimism and you have a guy that wants to prove he can play at this league like Shedeur Sanders, I think that the Browns, I think Judkins prove himself more reliable, more capable of big back, great gains. I'm just making metaphorical arguments here, stuff that don't show up on the stat line. I really am. I know that. I recognize that. But tangibly, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, how do you feel about Shedeur supposedly playing for his trade value and that it'll be Deshaun Watson under center next year?
I don't know what to feel about that, because I don't think Deshaun Watson hasn't gotten the credit that he deserves for playing as well as he did despite the circumstances. The healthiest in his healthiest stretch, he was 5-1. So that, I think, is dismissed, because maybe people might have thought he played like a game manager or whatnot. But under his healthiest, the Browns were pretty good, and they were charging. They were tuning themselves up as a machine. The fear is that was like 3 seasons ago, and this game moves quickly, So how is he back? Can Deshaun Watson return to form? Actually, return to his prime, because I think he was in it or whatnot. That's the concern. Like, maybe it's just been too long, and the game is caught up to what Deshaun Watson can do in such a way that he looked like Patrick Mahomes does now. Like, looks like it's catching up to him. I don't know. That being said, I think because of what Shedeur has the opportunity to do, I'm liking the momentum that it carries, and I think that they're going to play a competitive game at home, and I like the Bills to win that game.
I agree with you. Only player worth mentioning fantasy-wise for me is Harold Fannin. Joku, no good. No, a lot of DNPs this week, so look for Harold Fannin. You might see Double J throw a little player prop on a late garbage time touchdown.
So do you think Fannin, they're going to move on from Njoku as well?
Yeah, less money involved.
Gotcha.
He looks a little less conditioned.
Oh no, I think it is. He's ready to move on, And I think he's proven it. I think when it comes to Njoku, it looks like his play, as his body of work suggests, that on a team with some contention, on a team that's a winner, he'd be more than just serviceable. He'd be productive. So what teams out there need, let's say, for example, think about it. Let's say Kelce decides to give it up.
Perfect.
Right? Njoku under center, as a tight end for Mahomes, he knows he's going to get touches because Mahomes is used to having used to looking at that read when all else fails. So if Njoku can put himself in position to understand and learn the playbook and get that trust, he's going to get touches, meaningful touches, that are important to a wide receiver or a tight end in that case. So yeah. That being said, Fannin is proving like, hey, man, I'm ready to step up, and the opportunity presents itself in Cleveland, and I'm going to take it.
Yeah, with that being said, that next game that we were talking about, obviously, is the Chiefs and Titans. Man, what this brutal for Mahomes, and so it'll be Gardner Minshew under center, and he's going to be without his left tackle, his right tackle, and 2 offensive tackles. And Rashee Rice and Tyquan Thornton.
Who is Gardner Minshew throwing? And what time you got to check into the stadium tomorrow, Double J?
Me?
Yeah.
Barbershop J.
Yeah.
Because, no, I'm not signing up for that beating. They got the oh, man. It's brutal, right? Obviously, the Titans defense is bottom 5, and so if he may be able to throw it around a little bit. We know he's been accustomed to doing that in the past. The Titans defense didn't look terrible against Cleveland, so
right,
it wouldn't surprise me if it was a similar game script for those that have been with us for a little while.
All right, I'm picking Tennessee then.
Yeah, I'm going to actually agree with you. I don't know why. At this point, I would move away from Pacheco and Hunt. That other running back that they had in Kansas City was actually really effective in the limited reps. So for those maybe looking future, keep an eye on that kid. And then, I feel Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Like, it's just been brutal, dude. And I'm trying not to laugh.
But we picking Tennessee over Kansas City, though. Are you sticking with that? Come on.
All right, we'll go with it.
You sure?
Yeah, I think Tony Pollard, I think, could have a good game.
All right, again. Tony Pollard. He's going to be in Kansas City, right?
Yep.
No, in Kansas City.
No, Tennessee.
In Tennessee. All right. Yep.
Jags at Broncos. So in a total 47.
Ooh-wee. 10-4 Jags at the 12-2 Broncos. The Broncos' 12 games, 12 victories have largely come against subpar teams.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, you are what your record says you are.
That's right.
That being said, the Jaguars are a 10-14 themselves. So I think this is one of the first. I think this is one of the greatest tests for the Broncos this season. But I think they know what they're going to do. When I say they know what they're going to do, I'm just talking words, right? But I would say, I would say that I trust the Sean Payton offense in this case, and that defense is tremendous for Denver.
And you're going to see, shadow coverage on Brian Thomas with Pat Surtain.
Right.
And I'm not sure who I like in this thing. Who do you got, Gully?
I'm taking the Broncos.
All right, I'll go with the Broncos as well.
But you got to go with somebody different. You don't believe that. I told you why.
No, I like the defense. You're right. I can't. And I have Bo Nix in both of my fantasy leagues. So
that don't mean he got to win. He just got to perform.
And if
I mean,
he
think
does
about-
well
listen.
in performing, then he increases the odds of winning, right?
Look, think about
I
what
don't need
game
no
were we
Tim
just talking
Tebow
about?
type of performance out there.
What game were we just talking about earlier? Oh, Matt Stafford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a remarkable game. He had a remarkable game, didn't he?
He did, but that is not quite how Bo Nix works, dude. If he is bad, he is really bad, and they usually lose. So yeah, I will go with that. RJ Harvey, if you got him, use him, and then we'll see. Cortland Sutton as well. Then the Battle of the Birds between the Falcons and the Cardinals. Atlanta is only favored by 3 here.
That's all they need. They might only be 3 points scored in the game. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons.
All right. I am going to actually agree with you as well. Well, wait a minute. Drake London's listed as questionable. Yeah, give me the Falcons.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Who are you kidding?
Yeah.
You're not kidding me.
Lions versus the Steelers.
Oh, good night.
How do you feel? They punctured his lung? TJ Watt. Hasn't that only happened once where the team is the one responsible for injuring the player?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but I feel like that player sued the team and won. That's
Are you
probably why I
talking
can't remember him.
Is it when Kellen Winslow went after the Browns?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Right. I know that's a name for you. But yeah. I mean, all I'm saying is the Browns use University Hospital's health system. And historically they use someone else. But all right, anyway.
Yes. Lions are 7-point favorites here.
7-point favorites?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Pittsburgh on the upset.
Wow.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I don't hate it. And quite frankly, I actually like how this sets up for Pittsburgh and DK Metcalf in particular.
Yes.
I will say I agree with you where I would take Pittsburgh plus the points.
Okay. All right.
All right. Moving on to speaking of teams with a lot of points here now, the Raiders versus the Texans. The line is at 14.5. We apparently will have the return of Geno Smith. Dude, conveniently against one of the league's best defenses, I'd be like, I'm still hurt. The glimmer of hope of
I'm putting that boot right on. Listen, I'm putting that boot on soon. It's
yep.
Like, coach. Yeah. But no, there's no reason.
Something made a noise, no.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, bro. I'm definitely taking the Texans at home.
14.5 is the spread.
Do what you want to about that. I just know that the Texans are going Texans going to spread the offense. Texans going to stretch that defense thin. And I'm taking.
I agree. Potentially a good game for Brock Bowers. We saw what McBride did last week against this defense, and largely because they were in such control of the game that it was more of a middle funnel there.
Yeah.
And Stroud was on fire. Oh. Detroit fan man weighing in. Tyrod Taylor received a pain-killing ejection. That's who it was. And it's Tyrod, for those that are wondering, not Tyrod.
You read it that way. You said Tyrod. You ain't gonna correct it like we didn't hear it. It's here. Right. You heard me when I said Dante. You ain't say nothing.
That's how Herbert took his job. How much was he compensated for that? I don't know if Detroit Fan Man has that information available, but I feel bad for Tyrod because then where does he go to the bleeping Jets, and gets ran out of town with them too. So all because of this doctor, you know what I mean? Like this guy jabs me in the lung and now my whole career goes to, up in flames.
Collapsed lung.
Can you believe that?
Right. I imagine your joint go flat tire like that.
So yeah, I'm intrigued to see what TJ Watt does here. I mean, I know he's, maybe not hurting for funds, but that'll be certainly an interesting one as well. It looks like the Bears walked off here in overtime. Oh, Jordan Love got hurt?
Ooh.
Oh, man. Okay. Things just got even harder for the Lions then.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Detroit Fan Man. He sued, seeking $5 million. Potential earnings. He should have asked for more than that, especially in today's market. My goodness, that was only a couple of years ago. Brutal.
Hey, listen and hear about this. Hey, don't at me, bro. You was all right. Look, DJ Moore finished with 5 catches for 97 yards and a tutty. Whew, I think you could rest.
You bailed him out, dude. And it's okay because the James Madison player scored for me, and I got my money back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, finished 19 and 34 for 250 and 2 touchdowns. Caleb Williams.
You had to remind me of Rick Carlisle with that little loney. All right. Oh, Caden weighing in. Half-point PPR start 2. Sutton, Michael Wilson, or Marvin Harrison Jr., Ibuka. No, I want nothing to do with Ibuka. And Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get shadow covered from Cortland Sutton. Wow.
Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, you got it. If MHJ is not playing, Michael Wilson in that order. But then reverse them if Harrison plays. So Sutton for certain. I like that. And then if Harrison doesn't play, Wilson. If he does play, Harrison. Just the splits when the two are together are brutal for Wilson. And obviously, Harrison's supposed to be the number 1 receiver there. Brock Purdy or Knicks? I know we didn't dive into.
No, let's get to it. Hey, real quick, Caden, we're gonna hang tight with us. Let's get to our let's wrap up our picks, and then we can get right back to that because we just about there.
Okay. Actually, now that you mention it, we have the Patriots, Ravens, and of course, it's been a run funnel against New England, and so Derrick Henry for sure. And this is a must-win game for Baltimore.
Yeah,
Who you got?
So I'm actually taking Baltimore in this. I know that Buffalo shocked New England, so New England's looking to probably get some get back against their neighbor, if you will. But I think Baltimore, with just as much to play for in a desperate situation, plus having advantages in the run game between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, though they have a porous defense and secondary wise, I don't know if New England's it's a matter of New England's
now you're struggling.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I say all that to say I think Drake May is gonna No, I'm just looking at behind, you know what I'm saying, the sidelines, man. Mike Vrabel got those guys believing in themselves in a way that think about it, bro. You think Brady on the field, like 12-3. Bro, come on, man. You hear me? You hear it? You know it myself. You know it. This was you was about to say. You talking a whole lot about Baltimore. You ain't even looking at what New England's got going on for themselves. No, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna pick Baltimore. over New England.
Yeah, I'm going to go New England here. I don't think Lamar's playing the way that they need him to, unfortunately. Then that next game, of course, is the Niners in Colts. Of course, no Tommy Cutlets.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we talked about a little earlier with the NFC West standings. So I'm going San Francisco here. I think Phillip Rivers is good enough, but not good enough to get over the hump here.
Okay. So
and Brock Purdy for me is quarterback 13, and I got Knicks at 10. That's a tough one. I'm going with Knicks for myself. So if that helps,
you going with Knicks over that against the Jacksonville defense? As opposed to Brock Purdy against the Colts defense.
Good call.
Remember, he's not playing against Grandpa Rivers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not Brock Purdy, right? He ain't, you know what I mean? I'm gonna I'll say Caden, I'm picking Brock.
I'll agree with that. I'll go with it. And then as far as Warren,
yeah, you pick this one.
Strange or Schultz. Hang on, let's see here. Got Warren at 6. Schultz is at 13. Strange is at 16. And Gadsden's at 10. So I'm going Warren. And then Saints or Bills defense. Let's see here.
Bills versus Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. There's your answer. Shador's going to – I feel bad for the guy, dude. I like 12, but, you know, if Judy's going to basket catch everything, there's no Njoku.
But you got Fannin, though.
Yeah. He just doesn't target him enough.
He'll get used to it.
Bills. I have Bills at the number 2 defense.
Yeah. I'll take Buffalo over Cleveland.
As far as the Saints go.
Saints at home versus the Jets. So Saints, albeit 4-10, it's the Jets offense that has nothing going for it.
Yeah. And even though I have them at 17,
yeah.
Brady Cook is terrible for quarterback over there too. So I would say you're more likely to get more turnovers from Shador because he's willing to take the risks down the field.
Correct. Okay.
That does not mean that they may not get a garbage time touchdown.
Right.
The Jets, on the other hand, whoever they roll out there and it may not be there by halftime.
He said, all right. Jeez. By halftime, bro.
So, I mean, like, look, man, I've the tight end is out. I mentioned they were sellers on, at the trade deadline. Like, it is bleak. Like, no Memphis. It's really bad over there.
No understanding. Right. No understanding.
But
all right.
and if again, best of luck certainly in the fantasy playoffs here, and hopefully you get the win. Any final thoughts from you, Gully, on this upcoming fantasy slate or just the NFL or what you saw this weekend?
No, we picked who we picked. I'm pretty solid on that. I don't see too many upsets or surprises happening. outside of this week has the playoff picture actually materializes in the NFL. As far as the CFP, I'm actually pretty interested in seeing how this thing shakes out. Again, I'll reiterate my concern that the bye weeks for the top 4 may rear its ugly head again. But if it don't, then that's okay. Because we're going to get some competitive. That means we will get some great football going forward. I didn't pick a national champion yet because I don't forecast it that way. I just don't. I just knew that being in Central Ohio, I just knew that Ryan Day's job depended on them doing what they did last year because they had lost to Michigan for the 4th year in a row. So it was like, he had to do something big because it was up for him for sure. And turns out sometimes people do their best when they have nothing. They have nothing less. You know what I'm saying? They have nothing else. Jake Paul and MVP boxing or saving boxing. All right, Caden. You get our last one.
I think so.
Purdy, Wilson, Sutton, Bijan, Chain, Taiwan, 10, Fairburn, Buffalo D. Got to win to go to the championship. Do I got this? Caden, you got this, bro. Well, hold on.
Oh, man.
What's your opponent's lineup? Before we be like, before we be like, yeah. Because, I mean, this might be the best you can do, and then you just might just be up against you know what I'm saying? You just might be up against.
Right.
So, Caden, so while you get your final thoughts, if you can, quickly, Caden, get that over to us.
No, I mean, I like a lot of the selections this week and the particular matchups that Caden has. I think he'll be close to, depending on, like you said, pointing out whoever he goes against. The only question I wonder is that, ETN, it's you got to do what you got to do. Let's see. Looking at that. Number 1 and lowest pass rate. Number 5 in blitz rate. Number 3 in pressure rate. So no Tootin until the playoffs, Scully, due to a hand injury.
All right, yeah.
Denver's giving up the 4th fewest yards per game, rushing, that is, for the fewest receptions to the running back, and the fewest fantasy points to the running back.
Who is?
Denver's defense. So the ETN play, if you got somebody else, I know he didn't ask us about that, coincidentally.
No, he didn't. He looked like that what he said. Now look at this roster. look who he up against.
Oh my God. Golly.
Hey man, you had a great season, bro. You had a great run, Caden.
No.
I mean, you did the best listen, bro. You brought out
Devontae
your
only had a half decent game, I thought, today, right? I went against either him or AJ Brown. I can't remember. I know he scored. He scored first. Yeah, I know. I went against AJ Brown. Let me see what Devontae did. 18. Oof. 6 of 8, 42 and a tutty. So not insurmountable. Henderson is going against Baltimore's defense.
Yeah.
And he started to share time with Ramondre again.
Right.
Harvey, we said, should have a decent game. Let's see.
Now remember all this.
Oh, they only give up number 1 fewest yards to the running back. So that's a bad matchup for him, for Harvey.
Yeah. So, check this out. Look what he say. I played this guy twice. Lost by 1. I mean, so basically y'all rosters are like really the same. Like you really got the same roster.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to look at
where
it.
he valleys and vice versa.
Go
So
one by one. I would look at both of those pre-existing matchups. Look who you started. Look how favorable were the matchups previously.
Yeah.
Remember, that's what. Yes, your superstars are who got you here, right? So there is an element to this that you don't want to get too creative and then screw yourself out of and you got to let it burn for 365.
Right.
And so but I'm looking at his roster. It's not exactly set up this week for him to have a fantastic day either.
Right.
Some of those guys, dude, we just talked about the 49er defense. Where do I think that there's advantages. He's got a chance.
Well, right. I mean, he said it himself effectively. You know, y'all split the series by a point. I mean, you've got as good a roster as you're gonna get, man.
The thing with Fairbairn, I'm wondering, like I have him too. I just hope that he doesn't get all extra points. He did that to me one week. Actually, Jason Myers from Seattle just did that to me. 2. All them bleeping points were scored. He got 2. So I would say, I think, Caden, you got this. Just win it line by line. That's all. Gully, final thoughts from you?
Nah, for Caden, I mean, you got everybody that you need to get. You've got, it's about as good as it's going to get for you. You just got to see what happens. That's it, man. There's nothing. See, come on, Caden. Why do you do this to us? Bring it up on the screen.
All right. See, I don't like Brian Thomas Jr. versus Surtain. I think he has a crappy game.
And you don't like Ibuka?
Not anymore, because he's been just a complete letdown.
What about Brees?
Against the Saints defense, let me double check that one.
Listen, folks, if you want us to pick, you got to give us. Listen, we are your litigators for this thing, right? You come to us, you want us to pick, you got to give us all the options. And then, because we have given opinions and then we halfway wrong without context. So you're going to find us, put pie in our face, throw tomatoes out the car for us when we pick it wrong, not knowing you had aces in the hole. You ain't even bothered to deliver. Come on, give us everything so we can give you everything. You help. Listen, what did my girl say in misery? Help me help you. Okay? Help us help you. All right, Katie.
Brees has been held to under 70 rushing yards in 5 straight games.
You said Brees has been held to what?
Under 70 yards in the last 5 games.
Is Brees playing tomorrow?
The Saints. As a road dog greater than a field goal, I have a tough time getting overly bullish on Hall as anything more in the back end RB2, 20 plus. A lot of the teams themselves have been going with a run-based offense against New Orleans, but that's brutal. I just think ETN's going to get a bunch of volume. I don't disagree. It's a tough matchup. That's all. And when you're seeing, like you said, a margin of literally 1 point, I think he's the better play versus rather than Brees. I would have to agree.
Okay.
So, it's the better of all the options.
Yeah, I think ETN's going to get a bunch of volume with no Tutton.
Let's see. Denver's giving up the 4th fewest. So, again, whereas some of the other teams.
I think y'all do this to us on purpose. It's been fun, y'all. We got a flood of questions.
Omarion Hampton, Bucky Irving, or Rico Dowdle? All right, let's see. So here's the issue with Bucky. Red zone starting to go to Sean Tucker. Rashad White is hogging the passing down work. And Panthers are allowing the 28th. They're 28th in run defensively, the 4th highest yards per mark or per carry to the running backs. So give me Bucky Irving in that one for sure. And then let's see, let's double check here with Uncle Rico. No, Tampa gives up is number 2 in receiving fantasy points to running backs over the last 3 games. Rico and Chuba have each gotten 7 receptions apiece, and Dowdle has the slight nod in snap share, 54-47. So this is literally 1A, 1B. I would move him down to flex territory, though. So just kind of keep that in mind. A bigger opportunity with Tampa as a whole has been through the air. And that obviously implies the running backs also. So give me, I'm going to stick with Bucky on that one. And then, let's see, Hampton was the last one. What do we got?
Technical difficulties, man.
Gibbs or Jonathan Taylor?
He's taking Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, good. I'm glad I didn't have to pick between those two.
Right. Right. So the Hampton, Bucky, and Dottle is for his flex, I'm trusting. And then he started Gibbs and Taylor. Good job.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Hampton is the only one I just want to rule out really quickly. I think we're good here. Yeah. Oh, so Quinnen Williams may be out for the Cowboys. And without him, if he doesn't play, then I would say Hampton's still in play. Here's the thing, though. Since his first game in Dallas in Week 11, the Cowboys are number 2 in fewest rushing yards per game and the number 3 in highest stuff rate. So, yeah, no go for Hampton for me. It would just be between those two. The better opportunity, depending on if it's PPR or not, is still with Bucky. Again, it is a concern with the red zone stuff going to Sean Tucker and then the receiving stuff going to Rashad White. But I think this is a must win for them. So they got to, I think they'll roll them out there a little bit heavier, what we were accustomed to between the two. Gully, final thoughts from you.
I'm waiting for another pick to come in before I say so. Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate, May 30th next year, redemption. That's how I call it.
I think he's going against Tank Davis.
I don't think Tank gonna do it. Tank really gonna kill him.
Till then, it's been fun. We got to run. Good luck to everybody in the fantasy playoffs tomorrow. And as Barbershop Jay would say,
next time you want to know what's really going on, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome.
Hello.